All right. Well, good morning. Good morning. And I am super excited and really honored today to have a special guest on that I'm going to introduce right now. This gentleman has got over 25 years of experience in the financial services world. He's an author of two books and also executive vice president and managing partner of InVida Financial, Mr. Rich Rossi. Rich, welcome.
Jason, good morning. It's nice to be with you today on a beautiful Saturday.
It is. I'm excited. Hey, so I want to jump right into this because I know your time is limited and we are going to have a lot of things to talk about. One of the things that we're going to talk about is your second book, which I have right here, which is Income is the Outcome That Matters Most. So we are going to dive into that. But before we do, I want to give you an opportunity to talk just a little bit about yourself, for mostly for people that may not know you. Now, I'll tell you this, that you are most certainly someone in my life that I know that's got really probably the most comprehensive and greatest knowledge of financial matters. I don't know anybody like you. So it's for me, it's a real honor to have you on today. I'm excited about what we're gonna learn, what we're gonna talk about. But not to get your whole life story, but can you kind of go back in time and share where you got started in this industry, and then how you came into the position that you're in now?
Jason, first of all, thank you for that compliment. And all I could say, obviously, you haven't met a lot of people, because there's certainly a lot of people a heck of a lot smarter than I am. I guess my ability to be a student of the business every single day is what's helped me grow personally and professionally in my career. But as a quick snapshot, and you were at our Millionaire Mindset training that we had in Dallas, Texas, just a few weeks ago at the end of August. And I shared the story, if you recall, where I was trying out to become a certified ski instructor, level 3, which is a very prestigious level as a skier. And I fell, not because I lost control, because the ski broke. So I wasn't disqualified. And I had a choice, walk up the mountain or walk down the mountain. For some reason, I walked back up to the top of the slope, and the examiner offered me one of his skis, his 2 skis, actually, not one. And I finished the course and I passed the course. So, when you go through life, all of us, either we're all going to fall, we're all going to fail. The choice is, do you walk to the bottom of the mountain and just quit, or do you try to go to the top and say, hey, what's my opportunity? So you always got to look for opportunities. The second story I shared in Dallas was when I was asked to run for city council when I was 20 years old. I was a student in college. And I said to the deputy mayor and to the mayor, I said, you guys crazy? I said, I got long hair. I'm still in school. I don't have a wife, don't have a kid, don't even have a dog. Like, who's going to vote for me? And the deputy mayor looked me right in the eye and said, are you afraid to fail? And that was a turning point in my life. And I want to expound on that. I mean, we go through life every day just so afraid of failing, afraid of losing, afraid of trying something new, afraid of getting out of our comfort zone. And for some, I guess I'm blessed. I have a gene that sometimes I have more guts than brains to do things that I don't understand, but I will learn as I go. And I think that's the message I want to get across as we start this interview here today. To everyone listening, do not be afraid. You are going to fail, but from every failure, you're going to learn a lesson. And it's those lessons in life that make the difference for all of us as we grow and we grow and we grow. And, you talk about this industry. Well, I ended up getting elected. I ended up getting elected as city council president. I was a top vote getter in the city of Scranton, Pennsylvania. I got elected twice. Second time was unanimous by the city council as council president. I ran for mayor and I lost. but I ended up becoming the deputy mayor, the city administrator, the chairman of the Industrial Development Authority, in a city that took an old railroad station that was days away from a wrecking ball, and we turned it into a beautiful hotel that now is the nucleus of Steamtown, USA. We flew up to Bellows Falls, Vermont to find a railroad exhibit with old cars that was nobody could get to, because in the state of Vermont, they don't allow billboards. So nobody could find it. We relocated that to Scranton, Pennsylvania under Mayor James, chairman of the Industrial Development Authority. I'm so proud of those accomplishments. And as a result, Steamtown, USA is now a national park. So get excited about that. You know, it's just doing things, making a difference. And I was always a 24/7 guy. I always became overly obsessed with whatever I did and what I do. And I always want to try to be the best at it. I'm not always the best. Sometimes I come in last, but sometimes I come in first. So it's that as a background, I believe is. And then when I left government, I moved to Washington, D.C., and I couldn't get a job. I thought I was going to get a job, but it didn't pan out. I ended up answering an ad in the paper, Jason, that said, make $100,000. So here I was, a big shot politician, can't get a job. I had a couple of business failures in between all that. We won't go down that road right now, but trust me, I've learned my lesson on trying to do more than one thing at once. And the lesson I take away from those failures, was a housing project, it was a restaurant. I failed miserably, lost money. Is you can't be a master of two things at once. If you're going to be a financial professional, be a financial professional. You know, don't be out there selling Mary Kay and Avon and trying to be a financial professional. I got into this sort of on a part-time basis because I answered an ad, and the ad said make $100,000 a year. I said I need to make $100,000 again, and that was in 1990, Jason. That was over 3 decades ago. And I knew then and I was in my late 30s. I'm in my late 60s now. I had to plant the flag. My mentor said to me, Rich, there comes a time in your life that you got to plant the flag and just make it work. And don't look at anything else. And my cousin, attorney Pete Rossi in Philadelphia, I remember I called him, I said, Pete, I don't know what the heck to do. You know, I can't get the political jobs I thought I was going to get in Washington. He goes, Rich, get into sales. Get into sales. And I said, I can't sell nothing. He goes, you know how to talk, don't you? He goes, it's all communication. It's all finding a need and filling the need. So ironically, that's when I answered the ad in the paper. And I saw folks making a lot of money selling health insurance. From there, I saw one of my colleagues in that field offering to do savings programs. I said, I would like to do that. From there, we start doing financial education programs. I had a young lady working with me who didn't have a car. She came over here from Nigeria. She got a little scholarship. She answered one of my ads where we were trying to hire agents, hire financial professionals. And she got in the business, and I just saw, she has taught me so much. You'd think it'd be the other way around. But I saw a determination unlike I've ever seen before with anybody, Jason. And this young lady persevered. I mean, her picture should be in the dictionaries as for perseverance and rejection. And she used to take a cab. She used to take the metro. She used to take a bus. She used to try to bum rides off people to run appointments. And some people weren't even home when she got there. But you know what she never did, Jason? You know what she never did?
Never gave up.
She never gave up. And how many of you out there listening to this interview today have quit? It's those seeking went to the gold rush, and they're digging for the gold, and they're getting. I heard a TV show the other day. They were talking about the gold rush and what went through, and the dysentery and the illnesses and the sickness and the death getting across this country, and people quit. And they're like 3 inches away from the major gold bars and the nuggets they would find. People quit too much. They quit too early. And you gotta, if you believe in yourself, and most importantly, you gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself first. And there's a book written called Love is a Choice. And sometimes we're always looking for love from other people, but we got to learn to love ourselves first to be able to believe in ourselves, to have the confidence in ourselves to do what we need to do to get what we need to get. And, people say, oh, does that work? Does this work? Does that work? Nothing works if you don't work. If you commit, not 99%, 100%, and you have the right coaching, the right system, the right mentorship, it will work. It will work. So you asked me to explain how I got in this business. That's how I got into it. I got the books to study for my life insurance test and my health insurance on a Friday. We didn't even have computers back then. Right? I'm dating myself. That was like, it was 1999, about 1999, 2000, right? And I took the test the next Saturday. I just read all weekend. I went to the library, read 10 hours a day, 10 hours a day. I even had a job. Can you believe it? I am totally unemployable, Jason. It was 1 year I had a job, and that really motivated me because I needed money. So I had to get a job that I got as a contractor, working for a contractor, working with the government. And that was 1990. They were paying me $25 an hour in 1990. 50 grand a year. So you know what that would be today. That'd be about $150,000, $200,000. So I was making big money back then, but I hated every single second, not minute, every single second, because I had to wake up at 5:30. I had to jump on the metro. I had to go through traffic. I had to get to the office by 8 o'clock. You get to the office at 8 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, the other guy says, my buddy said, hey, come on, Rich, come on, we got a break. I said, we got a break. We got work to do. No, come on, we got a break. We got a break, man. Let's go for a break. Let's go for a cup of coffee and get a donut or something. So we go take a break, right? We come back to work about 10:30, quarter to 11, 12:30. He goes, come on, we're going to lunch. I said, what do you want to go to lunch for? I'm not hungry. I just had a break. I just had a donut. No, we got to eat. We got to eat. What do you mean we got to eat? We don't have to do anything. So then we go and have lunch. An hour later, we come back. Another hour, 2 hours. Come on, we got to have a break this afternoon. Let's go for get a soda or a nice tea. I said, what do you mean? We just had lunch. I'm not thirsty. I'm not hungry. No. You got to take a break, Rich. Okay. And then 5 o'clock comes. The building is empty. I mean, nobody gives a darn about anything. They just want to get out of Dodge. They want to go home. They want to. Now you're going home, right? So you take the metro home, or you get a ride, or you take your car. And I did multiple things. And now you got to go to the store to get food. Now you go to the store to get food. Now you got to bring the food home. Now you got to cook the food. And then next thing you know, it's 7 o'clock. Next thing you know, you got to get ready. You got a little downtime. Okay, now I got some downtime. I can relax. You sit down and relax, read a book, put a ball game on, and then you fall asleep. Then you go to bed. And I said, I am not going to do this the rest of my life. This is insanity. For 40 years? No way. I want to do something where I can control my time. I want to do something where I have my freedom of time. I want to do something that I'm my own boss. I want to do something I work as hard as I want or as little as I want when I want to do all that. I want to control my destiny. So, this gets in the whole thing of entrepreneurship, being in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And that's what we do at InVida. Folks are in business for themselves, but not by themselves. We've laid the foundation. So moving forward, we used to do a lot of financial education seminars, learning my craft. That young lady who I had hired who didn't have a car, we ended up getting her a car, helped her out, get her started. She came in one day and she goes, Rich, she goes, do we do financial education seminars? I said, no. She goes, I just talked to a sergeant in the Army at one of the bases here in Washington, D.C. I used to live in Washington, D.C. and also Annapolis, Maryland. And she said to me, they want us to do a seminar on financial education. I said, well, let's do a seminar on financial education. Jason, I don't know nothing about it. I don't know anything about it. I said, well, let's figure this out. What does somebody need to know? How to pay themselves first. They need to know the rule of 72. They need to know the 100-person story. What happens to an average number of 100 people at age 62 that only 2% are financially secure? And they need to know compound interest. They're the four fundamentals of financial education that I did not learn at home. I did not learn in that one job or through my elected positions. I learned it just from personal, practical experience, what I had to do to get my financial house in order. Common sense stuff that people make finances so darn complicated. You know, the financial advisors are nothing more than financial salesmen. They're just selling packages. They're not teaching the clients. And when then Wall Street gets your money, when do they want you to take your money and get it out? Never. They want to hold on to your money forever, Jason. They don't want you to take your money. They'll say, oh, grow the money. And then the market goes down. You call them up and say, hey, my money's going down. So sit tight. Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. And then when you get older, you want to start taking it out. Well, how much should I take out? I want to take 2, 3. You should be taking only 2 or 3%. I'll be conservative. Well, I need more money. Well, just take more money. They don't care. And then when you die and you leave money in a qualified program, let's say you leave $1 million, and then somebody says, oh, I don't want to buy life insurance. That's the most expensive life insurance anybody could buy, because if they leave the $1 million in a qualified program to a loved one, they got to pay the tax on it. And how much did it cost them? It cost them $1 million. People have no idea the power of financial education. And we do it in a simple way. So there's some of the lessons. I may be going down the rabbit hole here, making this a little longer than you had hoped for. But I think it's all important if you're going to use this video as an educational tool. So after doing that for several years, I got introduced to a lead program. I never had a lead in my life. For 8 years, I made a lot of money. And that was both a blessing and a curse, because with a lead program, you lose the ability of nurturing a clientele, prospecting for a clientele. And I've seen so many folks become lead junkies. If they didn't get that lead, they didn't do anything else. So I saw it as an opportunity to hire folks across the country. So I got into the lead program. That's when I met Philip Hutchins. And he was like the lead guru, the lead master, the closing master. The guy closed 500 sales in a row one year. But that was after he failed and didn't make any sales for a long, long time. And he sat on the side of the road and said, God, please help me. I got to feed my family. What am I doing wrong? And he rewrote the script. He wrote the script out. And we use that script to this day, almost 30 years later, 25 years later, that he made it simple in such a nice way. So I certainly used his words in my presentation. He was a great mentor of mine back then. And who do you follow? That's a great question too, Jason, right? Who do you follow? You follow somebody who's broke, doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together and take advice from them, who thinks they know it all? Or do you follow somebody who's been in the trenches, in the field, in the world, who's made things happen for themselves and for others? I mean, his last company, he grew it to $250 million. He had, I think, 19 millionaires making over $1 million. 19 agents are making $1 million a year. Many others are making from 100,000 to 999 a year. Making money. That's what it's all about. I mean, this kumbaya stuff only goes so far. Kumbaya, right? Only goes so far. We need to get paid. We need to get paid. And so that's very exciting. So anyway, fast forward, that's how we first met. And we sort of went separate ways in part of that time, but we reconnected. It's been over 3 years ago. We reconnected, we hooked up. And during so much of those times, I got into doing high-level financial planning. I've had some great mentors in that field, working on some very large estate planning, $50 million cases. But my main focus has always been Middle America. I grew up on the other side of the tracks. My grandfather came over here from Italy, and this is my first book. And in 2008, when all the talking heads were on TV saying, don't worry, sit tight, nothing, you'll be fine. The market will come back. The president of the United States, the Treasury Secretary, former Goldman Sachs president, don't worry about it. All the talking heads on TV who are owned by Wall Street, don't worry about it. And I was saying, as you see in the back of the book here, Wall Street was bailed out. Middle America was not. And there's some of the headlines. And it says here, a global market collapsed. Financial experts said, don't worry, do nothing, sit tight. And I wrote here, it was the wrong advice. That's why I decided to write this book. That's why I decided this book needed to be written. And that's how I became an author. I'm not an author. I wrote the book. I thought it was going to be an easy thing to do. It took me a year and a half.
Not so easy, huh?
I wrote it. I had somebody help me write it, supposedly a ghostwriter. Well, she was a waste of money. I threw the book away, redid the whole thing, got another editor, and the editor really guided me through what needed to be said. And I brought a couple other people in just to add a little different flavor to it, and some other perspectives. So it made it a nice, cohesive project. And then I remember somebody said to me, Jason, oh, is that your first book? I said, oh, yeah, and that's my last book. But I wanted to get across what I didn't learn, what I didn't know, what I thought people should know, especially seeing. And as the years went on, I've seen so many folks doing the wrong things. And then they reach the retirement age and they're saying, I didn't know that. I wish I did something else. I didn't know what to do. I just interviewed a lady the other day at St. Louis Bread Company. I was having lunch and she was cleaning tables and she was an older woman. And I said, can I ask you a question? Why are you working here? She goes, I have to. My husband died and I need money to pay the bills. I said, really? I said, you have life insurance? She goes, oh, my husband didn't want life insurance, but then we bought it and then we canceled it. But we had a good business. My husband had a good business and we were making money and we were fine. We were happy and we were doing all the right things. And I said to her very soberly, are you sure? Can you say that now? She goes, boy, no, I can't. Obviously, we weren't doing the right things. And that's what I find. And that's why my passion and my love to help middle America. When I see the headlines that Bezos, Musk don't pay any income tax, I throw up. You got mom and dads trying to raise their children, send them to school, taking them to soccer, ballet, football, basketball, the curriculums. They need the bigger house because they got 4 or 5 kids now. And seeing 20 to 30% of their income go into taxes. And we got these wealthy multi-billionaires not paying income taxes. And they're spending millions and millions of dollars to go up into space to take their picture. So they can send the picture back and say, hey, look at me, I'm in space, I'm rich. That appalls me. Something's got to be done with our federal government to tax these folks. Anyway, they're getting all the best advice, the best legal minds, the best accounting minds, how to evade taxes. What we need to do is help middle America maybe not evade the taxes, but mitigate the taxes. And there is no better program, trust me, than having a tax-free program. So therefore, and I didn't even let you ask me a question yet. I just get so carried away here.
It's so okay, Rich, because the questions that I've got, you're hitting on all of them, so you're doing great.
Yeah. So anyway, when I saw what Philip had put together with InVida, and it was a baby company. he retired, was out of the business. He ran. He didn't need to work in this industry anymore. They sold the company for like $100 million, and he was bought out and had a 5-year non-compete if he even wanted to get back in. The industry called him and said, "We need you," and they were right. The industry needs a Philip Hutchins. The industry needs a Rich Rossi. The industry needs a Jason Rodriguez, because the average financial professional who knows what the heck they're doing, and that's even questionable, are in their 50s and 60s. We need more young people to get into this industry, but they need to understand how important it is. So therefore, when I saw what Philip had put together, and InVida is different. It is different. Matter of fact, our convention coming up in January, it's called Discover the Difference. We are so different in doing so many things, helping with health insurance, helping with Medicare, helping teachers fill their income gap, helping business owners have tax deductions on a tax-free retirement program that they could do for themselves, and also other programs they could offer to their employees. We have family and friends to help. We have advanced markets that we could help somebody worth 50 million, $100 million, $1 billion, doesn't matter. We could handle those kind of cases. We have guaranteed income for life programs. We have guaranteed income for life on a tax-free basis. We could turn 401ks and 403bs and 457s into into guaranteed income for life. People think 401ks are retirement programs. They are not. It's a deferred compensation program. Anyway, that's why I joined InVida 3 years ago. And as I sit here today, on September 18th, it was probably one of the best decisions I made in my life, because I'm working with a team of financial professionals who are hungry, who want to learn, who want to make a difference, and who get out there every single day, talk to Americans from coast to coast to help them get their financial house in order so they can live the life that they desire.
You mentioned, you were just talking about a 401k. The name Ted Benna, what does that mean to you?
In the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, in Pennsylvania, my home state, some bankers were trying to figure out how they could pay less taxes, because they had their big pensions, they had everything else. They hired a guy by the name of Ted Benna. Ted Benna found a code in the IRS code. It was code 7702. And it was a way to defer compensation. So by deferring the compensation, they could reduce their taxable income on a yearly basis. So you put money into that 7702, you get the tax deduction. I'm sorry, let me go back. Can we take a time out? I'm not sure what the code is. Anyway, let's start again. He found in the IRS code, the 401k section, excuse me, okay. He found the 401k section. That's why it's a 401k. It's in the IRS code, where they could defer income, put it in this program. It's tax deferred. And then when they take it out, it becomes taxable then. So what it did was basically reduce their amount of money they were paying in taxes, with the theory that they'd be in a lower tax bracket when they retire because of their pensions. And back in the day, if you recall, people only needed about 50% of their income to 80% of their income in retirement, because we weren't living that long. An average male was living to age 78. 68, 71. So the life expectancy wasn't as great as it is today, Jason. So they felt comfortable. And what happened was companies saw that as a way not to give employees pensions. They said, wow, instead of us funding a pension for a person and being responsible to give them a check the rest of their life, because now they're living a lot longer. And actuarial studies have found that so many pensions in this country are underfunded. What an actuarial study is, that there's going to be enough money in the last 10, 20, 30 years for the whole group of pensioners who are retiring. So they're underfunded. A couple of things will happen. They either have to reduce the pension of the retiree in retirement age, or it could go bankrupt. So companies saw it as a way to get rid of the pensions. They said, now we're going to use the 401k as a deferred program, and we'll offer them a match. We'll give them a little bit of money, and we'll call it their retirement program. Although it's really technically not the retirement program, but we'll call it a retirement program. So most people think their 401k is their retirement program. They'll be shocked to learn that it is not the retirement program. So the companies, of course, all the broker dealers just have made this thing so convoluted and complicated with all these different ways to put money in. Now, Wall Street gets rich. There was a study done at the Congress. They had a hearing. And if I could quick find that, I'm going to read that to you. That they found that over a 30-year period, 50% of the gains in a 401k go out in fees, Jason. Those fees, it says it right here. It was on 60 Minutes, called 401k Fallout. That's in this book. Clearly, a raid on 401k money from Wall Street costs the savers a lot of money that would be in their accounts, independent of a financial collapse. The additional fees that can't be found in prospectuses are fees such as legal fees, trustee fees, finder's fees, stewardship fees, booking fees, transactional fees, and the list goes on. The congressional committee heard testimony that the fees eat up half of the money of a 401k in 30 years. Time magazine, that you also saw the picture of my book, said it's time to retire the 401k. So Ted Benna, and it's right in the front of the book here, Ted Benna has now said, and he's known as the father of the 401k, who spent his career helping people plan for retirement, says the 401k fails many Americans. And the other reason it fails many Americans, Jason, is people don't know how much money they're going to need in retirement. They don't know what their 401k is going to be worth, do they? Do you? They don't know how much they're going to get to keep. I've asked this question 1,001 times. How much are you going to get to keep in your 401k? Well, all of it. It's my money. Well, no, it isn't. It's Uncle Sam's money. You've invested it. You've taken all the risk. You had to make all the decisions, and Uncle Sam will let you know how much you get to keep when you take it out. And the last question is, how long is it going to last? Are you going to outlive your money, or will your money outlive you? How would you like to be that lady in St. Louis Bread Company who at 75 had to go back to work to wait on tables and to serve people because she ran out of money? That could be you with your 401k. And as you know, Jason, there's another example in the book that I'm sure you're going to get to in a second that we could talk about that.
Yeah, I was thinking, Rich, just the other day, and you brought this up when you asked the question, how long am I going to need as I think about getting to retirement age? Number one, what is even retirement age today? When would somebody retire, and then how long are they going to live afterwards? I hear you say all the time that on your birth certificate it doesn't come with an expiration date, and I love that one. I love that one. But I was doing the math the other day, and I don't know how long after I retire I'm going to live, but if I live 20 years and I need $200,000 a year of income, that's what I live off of. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that somebody has to put away somewhere. And like you said, with with the 401k, it's or anything in the stock market, the volatility there is just crazy. Um, talk for a minute about the yo-yo retirement program.
Hey, Jason, can I just jump in a second?
Absolutely.
I have to still go down this thing, this road. And, the question is how much you're going to need. If you need 200,000, that's a lot of money. But as you know, in the book, there's a story here about a guy that had $2 million. You would think that's a lot of money, right? $2 million. He retired in 2000. His financial advisor said, "Oh, don't worry, just start taking out what you need to retire." At the end of 4 years, it was less than $1 million in his account. Markets start going up. Market went down in 08. By year 12, he was broke. So that's a good example. When you talk about let's just power in on this for a second. I have a client that became my client when he was 55, back in Pennsylvania. He worked for the state of Pennsylvania and had a pension. Please understand the word pension. And please get your calculator out, Jason. I need your help. So he retired at age 55. He's about 73 right now. So that's what, 18 years ago. So 18 years. The state of Pennsylvania's pension fund, and when I talk about actuarially sound, I think you're going to understand what I'm going to need. First of all, like in year one that he retired, his retirement check was almost $60,000 a year. So how much money would you need to have an account today, which is going to lead right to your yo-yo question? How much money do you need to have an account today, pulling out 4% to get $60,000?
Well, I don't know how to figure the 4%.
Let's do this. Let's have a little fun. Let's say we had $2 million times 4%. That's 80,000 years. Okay. Right. So you're gonna need about $1.8 million. And then if you took 4% out, now, are you guaranteed that the market will continue to go up? Guaranteed you'll make 4%. If the market drops 50%, what percent do you have to go up to get even again? I'm going to throw that at you. If you had $1 million, Jason, and it dropped 50%, what percent does it have to go back up to get back up to $1 million?
100%.
Exactly. And sorry to put you on the spot, and I got it wrong the first time I asked when I was a young man.
Yeah, and you think 50% is the first thing that comes to your mind because it dropped 50%.
Right.
So you're like, oh, it's gotta go
up. How long does it how long does it take to make 100%? So if somebody is serious about retiring, they need to understand that. Market goes down, what percent do you have to get up? How long is it going to take? So Tom now is making about $80,000 a year. I just gave my client's first name away. I won't give his last name. So Tom's like about $80,000 a year. So why don't we do an average? Put 70,000 in your calculator over 18 years.
1,260,000.
So he's received from his pension fund 1.2 million. If he lives another 18 years and he gets a cost of living increase every year, it'll be at probably about 2.8 million, almost $3 million he would have received in his retirement years. That's somebody else paying for it, saving for it, investing for it, worrying about the fluctuations in the market, so he's guaranteed his income. What does he have? He's got income for life. Income is the outcome that matters most. So I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Jason, you said you want $200,000 a year in retirement. So do you want to have five? I'm working on a case this morning with Cliff down in Texas on a client he met yesterday who makes $800,000 a year, has $5 million of cash. He's got a couple $1 million in his 401k. And we're concerned for him running out of money. Think about it, because of his lifestyle, because of everything. So there are some of the more advanced cases we get into that we're working on today. Ironically, we're having this conversation this morning, and he and I have been talking the last 2 days because he had a 3.5-hour appointment with the client yesterday, and we're talking about what needs to go next. So here's a guy with a lot of money who's got a lot of problems. And the guy wants to have income guaranteed for life. So for you want to have $200,000 a year guaranteed. So that goes back to the question of yo-yo. The yo-yo retirement program. Is your company or your work going to give you $200,000 a year? No. If you're listening to this video or looking at it, your job, are they going to pay you what you're making now? Are they going to pay you full pay? How many of you could retire on less than full pay? I tell people you need to retire at full pay, 100%. Try living on 40% now. You look at teachers who think they're fine, but don't understand. I got a pension. And then when you show them that they're only going to get 40% of their income in retirement, and good for them that they're going to get 40%, because somebody else just, taxpayers are going to pay for that. They say, well, I can't live on 40%. Well, we got to do something else. That's called an income gap. And all of you out there working for major corporations, small businesses, self-employed, whatever, you're on the yo-yo retirement program. And that stands for you're on your own. You are on your own. And you need to create multiple buckets. That's one of the things I wrote in the first book, is the 6-bucket approach. I hear more and more people using those lines today. I wrote here, the new alternatives, the 6-bucket approach to ladder your retirement distributions. You cannot count on any one thing. Don't count on your 401k, your 403b, your IRA, your Roth IRA, your cash value life insurance. Don't count on one thing. You need multiple things to count on. Yo-yo retirement. People don't plan to fail, Jason. They just fail to plan.
Would you consider, as one of those buckets, building a business with InVida?
Absolutely, without question. I mean, I just had that conversation with somebody 3 days ago, I think it was. And, we sit down with folks across the country every single day. And, one of the things that I always encourage folks to do is do their budget. Help them do their budget. People don't know where their money's going. They're spending it on this and that. And usually when I do somebody's budget, a family making $50,000 a year, $70,000 a year, there's always money left. There's always money that they can't account for. They can't account for it because you have your fixed expenses, which would be your mortgage, your car payment, your car insurance, your utilities, your telephone, etc. And then you have your variable expenses. And usually we do a budget, there's usually $600 to $1,000 a month even left over. Sometimes they don't know where it's going. So if you learn how to do a budget, track your money, and we're doing a rehab on a house next door here we're going to be moving into. And the plumber said to my wife, they were going over some numbers and using copper and gas lines. And the plumber said to her, Tammy, you never want to spend more than you need to. You never want to spend more than you need to. Just a simple little comment from the plumber. I said, Tammy, what a great line that was. One of the other lines is, never spend more than you make. And that's using the credit card. People are out using their credit cards thinking it's all free money, and then they're going to hit with a 22 to 28% interest rate. And you know why the interest rate's so high, Jason?
No, I have no idea.
Because the defaults on the credit cards are so high. They have to make the money someplace. For a credit card is a loan. All you're doing is taking a loan. They're giving you a loan. They're lending you money. It reminds me of the old movies with the loan sharks. I'll lend you $1,000. I want 25% interest. Remember
Yeah.
those movies and they don't pay and they break their knees? The baseball bat. I want my money. Jack wants his money. Mario wants his money. The Godfather wants his money. I don't got the money. Well, I'm going to break your legs then. Make sure you break his arms, send Guido out to break his arms. So that's what credit card companies are.
Right.
They're loan sharks. You're borrowing money and they're charging you 25%. The only thing is it's illegal for them to come and break your legs to get the money. But they'll charge you that because the folks who default, yeah, they ruin their credit. They can never get a credit card again. They can never buy a car, so that's the payback. That's how they hurt them in lieu of breaking their legs. They get bad credit. Their credit rating goes down. Their FICO score goes down. But yeah, just don't spend more than you make, man.
So Rich, we got just
one last thing. You know what the most important bill is on any budget?
the most important bill.
What is the
Pay
most
yourself
important?
first.
Pay yourself first. If you get in the habit of paying yourself 20% of your income every single month of every paycheck, you'll be wealthy if you start young. The older you are, you got to save more money. And trust me, when you're in your 40s and 50s, you don't want that makeup. When you're in your 40s and 50s, you start thinking about retirement. And you're saying, oh my God, I missed it. I missed it. And when it's not how much money you're saving, it's how long you're saving it for because of compound interest. The rule of 72 that a lot of folks don't know about, and we need to teach people that. You take 72, you divide it by an interest rate, it shows you how many years your money will double. So if you got $100,000 and you're making 6%, your money's going to double in 12 years. Divide 6 into 72. If you have $100,000 and you're making 12%, 12 into 72 is 6, your money's going to double in 6 years. Which one would you rather have? So understanding compound interest, the rule of 72, is vital in any money management. And it's really rather simple. And these financial salesmen who call themselves financial advisors aren't going to teach you any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. How much can you put in the market? How much can you put in the market? How much can you redirect to the market? How much you put in your 401k? You got to put more in. Oh, the company's matching 5%, but you could put up to 18%. I tell people, take the match. Up to the match, it's free money. And then over that, let us help you redirect it into a program that could create a tax-free income, guaranteed for life program for you. That is smart, safe money management.
Yeah, I'm finding more and more people are interested in that today too. They're getting it. So we have just a few minutes left, Rich, and I want to ask you one more question. You brought up the date earlier. It's September 18th, but that reminded me that there in your book there is a date of some significance. September 9th, you had a dinner in Boston. Do you remember who that dinner in Boston was on September 9th?
Thank you for that question. That was with my nephew, Milo Rossi, who I'm so proud of. You got to check him out on TikTok. He has over 500,000 views. My brother just sent me something else that he did. Let me just look it up for a second here. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it right away, right? You never find anything that you're looking for right away. Anyway, if I get it, here it is. Mini Minuteman. My nephew, okay? My nephew was one of the neatest little people in the world. He calls me up. Anyway, his father and I designed a program to create a tax-free income for him when he was 11 years old. So he would hear us talk about it. It's for him. And his father, my brother, John, we set it up for him. So when he's like 16 years old, 17, he calls me up and says, Uncle Rich, will you teach me about money? I said, Milo, I would love to. So I flew up to Boston for the weekend. And you're referring to the chapter in the book on the money talk. And there's a picture of us eating lobster. We're holding the lobsters up. And that he and I are on one side of the table. His mom, his stepmom. His mom, by the way, died at 45. She got breast cancer at 38. So my brother almost lost his house, almost lost everything. Uh, and he didn't have living benefits. As Doreen was having brain surgery and we were in Massachusetts General Hospital, he says it's too late to get that new kind of life insurance that you don't have to die to use. You know, we were both heartbroken, both crying and just sick about that because he didn't make the right decision. And each of you are always faced with a choice. We all have choices. We all have choices, and you know, so think seriously about every decision you make. Don't be afraid to make a decision, but have a choice. Anyway, he asked me to talk to him about money. So I had the money talk with him. And his father stayed out of it. No, this is for you and my son, Milo. You talk to Uncle Rich and you guys chat. And what was so neat about it is he was sincerely interested. And to this day, he practices what he preaches, what he's learned. So I taught him about the 4 pillars of financial success. And if you're a parent, please listen to this and read that chapter. And I learned this. Remember, I don't know anything. Everything I have in this noggin of mine, I got from someplace else. You know, I read it, I learned it. I met somebody from Germany. And in Germany, I was told that if you have a credit card, it's got to be paid off every week. It comes right out of your paycheck. That certainly stops you from overcharging. Now, that could have changed. I'm going back many years on this conversation, but this lady was in the financial advisory business in Germany. So she told me that. I said, wow. She goes, I said, how do you work with clients? She explained how she worked with the clients. Many of those lessons I learned from her, I've incorporated in my career. But she says the clients bring their children in at age 16 when they start working. We teach them the 4 pillars of financial success because they start working at 16. They should have a life insurance policy. They should have a mortgage savings program. They should start a retirement program, and they should have an investment program. And it doesn't matter how much they're putting in, even if it's $25 in each bucket. What is that teaching the child? What is that teaching the adult, the parent? It's teaching them that you got to pay yourself first. And if you do it every single month consistently for a long period of time, you're going to become a millionaire. My nephew is going to become a millionaire because of that program we designed at age 11 for him, that his father designed. We're making my nephew a millionaire, may even be sooner, like 55 maybe. But it could be sooner, it could be later. It depends on how the program matures and works. So teaching children the 4 pillars of financial success, teaching ourselves the 4 pillars of financial success. Once again, everybody needs life insurance. It's the foundation of every financial plan. If you don't have a up-to-date, the new kind of life insurance. I meet people every day, Jason. Oh, I got life insurance. You do? When does it pay? What do you think they say to me?
I die.
They say, when I die. Well, you got the old kind. What do you mean? The new kind pays 18 different ways you don't have to die to use. If you get cancer, if you get sick, if you have a stroke, if you're critically ill, if you're chronically ill, you can take money from the death benefit, which would have helped my sister-in-law, Doreen, because my brother had to stop working because he was the caregiver for her and her son. They almost lost their house. We had to step in and help, and we're glad to be able to do that back then. So you have that. Also, cash value. Do you know where banks invest so much money? Bank of America's got $22 billion in cash value life insurance. You know why? If they made 5% last year, they made $500 million. How much do they have to pay in taxes? Zero, zilch, nada. So the wealthy and the banks use cash value life insurance. Wealthy Americans have over about 60% of all the cash value. So why aren't we doing what the wealthy do? Why aren't we being taught what the wealthy are taught? That's why we're trying to teach middle America. We're trying to teach you to make a difference in your life. I bought a house next door. There was 3 people trying to scoff up this property next door to us. And Tammy says, we'll pay cash. What do you mean to pay cash? We negotiated a price. We got it for about 20% below the market price, Jason, because we're able to pay cash. We used the life insurance to buy the house next door. Our cash, we borrow from ourselves. We're a bank. So I use that as an example, not to brag to you, but to say that I practice what I preach. Build up the cash value, be your own bank, buy your next car. Oh, what's the interest rate, you say? Well, think about this. If you take money out of the bank, are they going to still pay you interest on the money that you took out of the bank? Or money you took out of the Wall Street? Because you just can't take money out of Wall Street, because now you got to pay capital gains, you got to pay dividends, and you got to pay tax on the appreciation of the asset. So you just can't take money and borrow money from your 401k or from that, because there's taxable events that are calculated. There may be some exceptions on some of the qualified plans, but if you have a non-qualified plan, there's no exception. So I become my own bank, but the money I took out, I borrowed against the money. I'm still being credited on that money, and the difference is about 1%. So I'm my own bank. I'm paying myself back. I'm paying my own loan back in the bank. I bought cars with that. So you can do the same thing. Let one of the InVida financial professionals teach you how to become your own bank. No financial statements, no call. Hey, did I get qualified? Am I qualified yet? Oh, you need another bank statement. You need this. You need my tax rate. None of that stuff. I called my guy on Monday. He calls me Wednesday morning, Rich, because the money's in your account. One phone call, money's in my account. Done deal. So that's where the life insurance comes in, one of the foundations, okay? The second one is a retirement program. Why not? We're all going to, everybody's going to retire. The question is, do you want to work forever? Or do you want to retire young? Have the choice. I work because I want to, not because I have to. I love what I do. So it's not work. If you got a JOB, journey of the broke, or just over broke, that's good. We need people with jobs. You need to have a job, appreciate it, enjoy it, but just understand what you have and what you don't have, and you're still on the yo-yo retirement program. Don't count on your job to give you money in retirement. So you need a retirement program. Mortgages. You can't find the property in St. Louis. We get phone calls. We get things in the mail. You want to sell your house? Sell your house. We'll pay you above market. 10% above market, guaranteed, whatever the value is. I mean, housing is going through the roof. How is a young person going to afford housing 30 years from now? So you got to start housing. You may want a new house. You may want to upgrade your house. You may want to move to a different neighborhood. Are you saving for that? You don't want to pay PMI, property mortgage insurance. Never. You don't even want to use the bank's money. You want to use your own money. And then the last thing is have an investment account. You need a cash account, which is an emergency account. If your transmission goes on your car and you don't have the money, is it an emergency? Heck yes, because you can't get around. If you have the money in an investment account, you take the money out, you buy a new transmission, and you rent a car for a couple of days, let them put the new transmission in, and you're good. It's not an emergency then. So 4 pillars of financial success. Great question. Thanks for asking that one, Jason. That's one of my favorites.
You're welcome. Well, Rich, I appreciate you taking your time this morning. I know you got to run, and it's just been great having this conversation. And I feel like we had more to get to, and we can get to that another time. But thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge with us today.
Jason, you're so welcome. And we're just so proud of you as being a financial professional as you are, helping so many folks. I've watched your post where you do a deep dive on my book, Income is the Outcome That Matters Most. And I'm grateful for that. I hope it's helping educate folks, because when the day is said and done, Jason, you and I are financial educators, and you work with a team of experts. I work with a team of experts. we don't know all the answers, but we know where to get the answers. And we do that for one reason, Jason, right? To help folks get their financial house in order. Is your financial house in order? If not, talk to Jason, talk to a financial professional at InVida, and let us help you live the life you desire. Thank you so much, Jason. Nice being on with you.
Thank you, Rich.